Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That is degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice, just me having fun looking at charts. And yeah, I believe I screwed up the live stream start time. I think it's supposed to start in a month. So hopefully nobody's missing this who wants to be here. But hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That is degenerative. I was watching myself just to see that this was actually starting because I screwed up that time. Sorry about that. But yeah, so for this stream, I'm going to be going over the tickers that are, listed in this heat map behind me, as well as the ones over there, including Boyle, which I made a video on, including as well as Bitcoin. The Boyle one, what I expected ended up coming true for the most part. Bitcoin, not so much, so I thought I'd go over those. And then, yeah, all of the ones in the heat map are videos that I've made that I will probably follow up on at some point. And yeah, so I just wanted to go over those. Hopefully you guys like the Degen Ed mascot that I made. That was from the Chegg video, which is, right here in the blue. It's been more or less flat the past week, or past day, I guess, on Friday. But yeah, so I'm going to get into those charts. And if you have any requests, if you're watching this live, which I don't think anybody is, but if you are, hit me up in the live chat. Happy to go over your requests or in the comments. And yeah, I'll be getting into some charts here in a second. So let's see. Oh, I gotta reset so that's just my channel page. So let's see. There we go. Okay, so got that set up. Okay, kind of a little chaotic today because of, the holiday weekend. But yeah, so I'm gonna go over the tickers that are on that list, and I'm just gonna do it in alphabetical order because I've forgotten how I listed them. And so the first one on that list is American Airlines, ticker symbol AAL. So I had made a video on this, I believe, Thursday evening. And yeah, I just had noticed that it had come down to, right around $11. And the low from, I believe it was Monday last week. Yes, Monday last week on October 23rd. The low was 1094, and we hadn't broken below that. So I was thinking, that seems like it might be a bottom. But then on Friday last week, it did break below, going to 1088. So that's a lower low. So perhaps it hasn't bottomed yet. But it did close at, let's see, 1092, which, is, lower than the previous low, not previous close, but previous low of 1094. So yeah, that doesn't seem like it's that great. So I might be a little early in hoping that American Airlines has bottomed, but it could go down a lot more. But yeah, so from the video that I had made, just kind of tracking this channel, parallel channel, that it has been going down, following more or less within this channel since late July, having a prior high prior to this downtrend of 1908. And yeah, so just seems like at some point it's going to turn around with American Airlines, United, and Southwest, I believe, had earnings on Thursday last week. With those big airlines having earnings, I would think that there's no more big news. They haven't tanked. They've gone down a little bit more. But my hope is that, this is going to bottom soon. And one thing that stands out to me about this chart is when taking a step back. Let's see, I can't even view it looking at the on the daily time frame. I have to go to the weekly. We can see that actually I need to go even to the monthly, and that's actually good. That's what the what this is based on is the monthly candle beginning for July 2008, having a retouch of this trend line in 2009, touching it again, one tail of a candle coming down November 30th, 2011. And then, these big tops here before returning to that trend line in, let's see, that would be April 2020, pandemic lows. Then following this horizontal line as support before going up. And now it looks like we are below that trend line, but above that horizontal line. However, the month of October is not over yet. So it will be very interesting to see if this October candle closes the month above this trend line. Then perhaps, that might suggest that we're at a bottom and American Airlines is indeed ready to take off. But that hasn't happened yet. So, I'm just curious, watching it, hoping for the best. But, you've also got to prepare for the worst. So it could go down much more. It could come down to, sub $10 a share. So that would suck. But, let's see. I don't want to look at the hour time frame, the daily time frame. And we can see that, let's see, the RSI is below 30, so it is oversold. It has been oversold for a while. However, it's been very oversold. At the end of this is September 27th, the RSI was as low as 17.56, and then there was a little bit of an uptrend for a few days, but then it continued this downtrend. So, I'm thinking eventually this is going to turn around, and I think that might happen soon, but, who knows? And so the next stock on the list, going alphabetically, is AMC, which is, a favorite, especially if you're an ape, if you've been holding for a long time, if you experienced the big rally, the squeeze in 2021, if you're still here, cheers to you. Make sure this beverage doesn't disappear. Oh, disappeared. But yeah, cheers to you. And so, I've just been following this, and this also will relate to Hycroft mining stock, because like AMC, who recently announced a reverse split and carried that out, Hycroft Mining just recently announced a reverse split. And so I'm very curious to see how that how that trades relative to how AMC has, because I think that there might be some discount opportunities coming up with that. Actually, I feel like that's kind of a certainty, because when there are reverse splits, the prices tend to go down, but they tend to go up shortly after. And so with AMC, what we have is, I believe, that reverse split and kind of the merging of the AMC preferred equity, I think the APE units, going into AMC shares, going back into AMC shares. I believe that was announced right around August 11th. So that's where this, where the cursor is. And so that dropped from, on that day, being around $45.50 a share. Let's see the low of that day, to be fair, $43.32. Dropped from there down to what is now. And that's, I should note that the $45, $43, that is the value following the reverse split value, but prior to it happening. So at that time, I believe that would have been about $4.50, $4.30. But yeah, so that happened. The price came down to a low of $7.05. Quite a discount there. If you're able to scoop some up, I believe I got some around that level. But I'm always trying to accumulate over time, so I never buy tons at once. But I did take advantage of this coming down to get some cheaper shares. And so the date of the reverse split, which you can see this M on the chart there, excuse me, that was August 24th. And so on August 24th, you can see that the price was, let's see, the low of $13.33 a share. So coming down from 43, quite a discount. And then the price continued to come down after that reverse split down to $7.05. Again, quite a discount. What seems like followed along this trend line that I have here. One second, I just need to check something. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it's auto scaling, because I'd like to zoom in on this. I guess it's just because there was such a drop. There we go. Okay, so zoomed in a little bit more. Sorry about that, messing with the camera there. But yeah, so we followed this trend line that I've drawn, serving as support, at least, thus far. No closes below this line. And, we're now trading above it at around $9.15 at close, $9.29 in the after hours on Friday. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that we don't retest that level of support, but it seems like we probably will. Also, if we take a step back, this wedge that I've drawn, which may or may not be valid, I'm not really sure. There is, some potential or possibility that there could be more downside. However, with earnings coming up, with Taylor Swift, with Beyonce, the possibility of Dane Cook, and other entertainers, musicians, comedians, whatnot, working with AMC distribution, it seems pretty likely, and also following Barbie, Oppenheimer, and, Killers of the Flower Moon, other great movies that are out right now, that, I imagine earnings will be pretty good, and 705 will be the bottom. This will be going up, potentially breaking out of this wedge, and levels that I see it could get to. We have this candle here, which had a high of $11.70, which was a gap down from the prior day, which had a low of $12.64. So there's about a $1 less than $1 gap there to be filled. So that seems like it could be a level that we will be going up to. And, we do see that there was some sideways action, or I guess, multiple days where we were trading in this range from, let's see, around $14. $14 down to $10.71 ish. So I imagine we will, go up to that level, fill that gap, but then we might flatten out. Or maybe we'll go up beyond that gap and then come back, flatten out before continuing on upwards to the next gap, which is going to be between about 1650 and 1950. And then, of course, there's this other big gap that's here between, let's see, about $37 and $43, $43.32. So, yeah, there's a lot of potential for this to be going upwards, filling gaps, but also bumping into resistance. So while there will be, I'm sure, squeezes related to that, I imagine as these squeezes start to happen, the stock will be halted and it will come back to these levels. So, what I plan on doing is, accumulating while it's low right now. And then when it goes up, when it shoots up, I'm hoping to be able to, pace myself and wait for it to come back down to those levels, forming bull flags essentially before continuing on up. And so I plan on continuing to accumulate on those levels, if not, more while it's down right now. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think it's, great company to be involved with, great community to be involved with the apes. And so I just wanted to cover this because I did make a video on it last week, I believe, or perhaps the week before. I probably won't be covering too much on AMC, might do something over their earnings. But yeah, just because there's already so much AMC coverage, I don't know how much I can add to it. But, I do think that as we squeeze upwards, it will be halted. We will be stopped at certain levels. And, when coming back to those levels, great time to accumulate, add more to keep that upwards pressure. But yeah, I'm going to continue on to the next stock, or I should say ETF, that's on the list, which this is ARKX, which is for ARK Invest Space Exploration Index, which doesn't really include that many space stocks as far as, what I would think, like no rocket stocks. I'm not sure. I could actually look up the breakdown of what their holdings are, but if nobody's watching and doesn't want me to do that, if you do want me to do that, let me know in the live chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue looking at the charts. But yeah, so this stock, let's see, this of the ARK stocks, this is the newest one that came out. Let's see, the end of March 2021, and it started with a high of $21.33, kind of traded down to around 19, so right around the $20 range, before coming down. Hitting a low of $11.77 on October 13th, 2023. That was not a Friday like it was this year. And, so that was a bottom. It bounced, came back down, and formed what I think might be the start of this trend line level of support, where it tapped, where I guess it basically created this trend line support with a bottom of $11.93 on December 22nd, 2022, before, going up again. And so we are now back at that level. This is looking at the daily. We did almost touch it, it looks like, with a low of 1264 on Friday last week. But, I believe if I expand this to the monthly time frame, let's see, do those trend lines work as well? Let's see, yes. So there are these two touch points, and as of right now, October, we are slightly below that trend line, but we're pretty close to it, so I'm not too concerned. But it will be nice to see this going up the next couple days to close out October above this line, which would be right around 1275, something like that. And so if we can close above that, it's quite likely that this is a bottom, or quite possible. I shouldn't say likely. I have no idea. Quite possible. And, over the next 4 months, we could be going back up to $15. So whether you want to hold it that long or you want to just, maybe wait a couple weeks and to see if this would bounce and go back up to, increase in value by $1, something like that. That would be a gain to take and walk away before, holding on to this too long and, waiting to see what happens. But yeah, I don't think I included this, or no, I did include this in the thumbnail. But yeah, it's an ETF. So, it's based on all of the stocks that are listed in that portfolio. And yeah, but it just seems, this seems like a very interesting trend level that I was able to identify that. So I'm very curious to see how it respects that line. And it's also, only 12, 13 bucks a share. So, not that bad. So yeah, I just found that interesting and wanted to share. Maybe I'll be making a video on this after October closes, so after Tuesday, or maybe in the after hours, the evening of Tuesday, maybe I'll make a video on that. Okay, and so going on to the next stock, which this is BIOR, which I believe I made a video on it last week. And I think it was the beginning of last week. I think it might have been Monday pre-market, maybe I made a video. And so, yeah, it had gone up to, what I was thinking would be like $2.65 could be a top, because there's not only this horizontal level that has, let's see, served as support over here and support here again. And yeah, we also touched it back in September earlier this year. So I guess that served as resistance then. And then also these trend lines that I have drawn here, where it's this parallel channel that we've been trading in, and this trend level of support based on these lows that were the beginning of the year, 2023, served as support here. And so all of these levels that, are effectively, in my view, serving as resistance, it's going to be hard to break through those. We really need a lot of volume to get through them. And so I saw that, the volume was tapering off here. I was able to not close out my position, but I did sell some, hoping that, we might break above this level or maybe test this trend line, which would have been around $2.80. But we didn't hit that. And so we did come down. And so now I'm wondering if $2 is serving as a level of support before we retest this trend line, the top of the channel. And then if we do break above that, maybe that could then serve as support moving forward. And then we could test this level of resistance, by itself, having some separation between these levels of resistance. So that's kind of my thought process with that. I am, I'm not buying any right now, just kind of waiting to see if it comes down to test the bottom of the channel or if it, goes to test the top of it. So I'm just waiting with this one. And I think that there's some upwards potential with it, but also some downwards potential given that we're trading within the channel. And so, we'll have to see. But it does seem to me like $2, it's a logical level. Or it's a round number, an even number, $2. Psychologically, that might serve as support before we break up. But that's all I pretty much wanted to say about that stock. I'm going to go back to an ETF. This is BIOR, which before I get into it, I'm going to have another sip of this. So if you've got one of these, cheers. But so let's see. BIOR. This is one that when it was, I think up here, I forget exactly the day that I released the video, but I sold my position that I had slightly above break even, basically a break even. And I was thinking that, it might come down to this level, this trend line, this level of support before going up. But then I realized, looking at the options or the max pains, that 60 seemed like a reasonable level for us to come back to. And so I thought it would take 2 weeks to come down to that level. And then the following week, which would be this coming week, we'd be going up. But that actually happened over the course of 2 weeks rather than 3. And so I had made 2 videos on this ETF. One suggesting that, I think we're going to go down to 60 and then go up to 66. And then the follow-up video, mainly based on information from the max pain, I was thinking that, and actually this trend line that's down here, thinking that we might be coming down to around $51 before going up to 80. But, that was not my initial plan. That was just, kind of, hey, maybe that could happen. And so my thesis was it would come down to 60, go up to 66 for a 10% gain. That ended up happening. I was able to accumulate some and get my average below $60. And rather than selling all of them at 66, I was trimming on the way up, trying to lower my risk because I didn't want to be holding the bag on tons of these shares before 66 would then be retested. But what ended up happening is we ended up going up and not only breaking above this trend line, this level of resistance, which you can see goes back to this low here, but also filling this gap that was formed on the way down. And I kind of had an announcement that, we hit 66, I'm sure I could make more money, but I closed my position. And we, in fact, did go higher. There was a high of 67, 68 during the trading hours, but oh man, I didn't realize it went up this high. I thought it went up to about 68, but it looks like during pre-market on Friday, it went up to $69.75. So, I could have made a little bit more money, but I didn't want to be having that risk, keeping that on the table. We're now below that trend line at $64.09, lower than 64 in the after hours. And so, I could imagine that maybe because of this candle here, this let's see, that would be the open, was at around, let's see, exactly $63.24. I could see that serving as a level of support before a retest of this trend line, attempting to break above it. But I do see that there's going to be some more downside. So I've, I'm no longer in this position. And I should also note that we did fill this gap that was, highlighted here. So I'm actually going to delete that box. I'm going to delete this box as well because that's been filled. And I was thinking that maybe this doji candle here would be like a morning star, but we didn't get a big candle the next day, a couple days later. So I'm going to delete that. And so I'm sitting on the sidelines for this one right now. And there's one thing that was pointed out to me in the comments that, let's see, I have these lines here. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see them. They're kind of faint, these vertical lines that I've drawn here. And I think this box is related to that. And so that's basically like, if we look at this, so this is based on a comment that somebody made about there being a pattern in BIOR. And I didn't necessarily agree with their dates, but I looked into, kind of what they were suggesting, that there's this cyclical pattern with BIOR between highs and lows, or really between lows. So, when's the best time to get shares of this ETF at a discount? And so if we look at this low here, that was on June 1st, earlier this year, we go 42 bars later, or 42 trading days, which is 62 days, approximately 2 months. We go 2 months later, and then we see this other low. And so there was a prior low, or a dip below that, or you could think of it as there were multiple dips between that, with one the beginning of July, so that'd be July 7th. This dip here, July 17th, before there were little rallies. But, looking at the biggest rallies, the next big low before a big rally was 42 bars later, 42 trading days later. And, that was at, okay, so let's start from here. This is at $45.60 going up to, let's see, I'm just going to take out this tool so I can just do this measurement. So that's a low. Oops, I screwed that up. So let's see. Might actually do it from the top. Might be a little bit easier. To the low over there. And so, I thought that'd tell me a percentage change. Dang it. Okay, so yeah, because I went backwards. Dang it. I'm going to delete that and I'm going to go forwards with it. So just so it's a little bit clearer. So that's going to be around let's see, 68% gain there. So that's pretty significant from that bottom. So, be great to capitalize on that rather than just doing a 10% swing, like from 60 to 66. Ideally going from, the bottom before a big run to the top. And so looking at that, 68% swing. And then, so I'm just going to delete that to clean this up a little bit. And then from 42 days or 42 trading days after that, we have this low of 53.81, which went up to a high of, let's see, 78.65. And so that is a change of about 46%, and that's over the case of 5 trading days. Yeah, and so I'm actually, I'm gonna move this. Ah, man, kind of tough to move these. I'm just gonna delete it. Yeah, like how many trading days were, this was a longer swing, but you got a much better reward with that. But anyways, from that bottom, another big swing. And then if we take that bar again moving forward, or that time frame, 42 bars, which in this case ends up being 61 days, we get another bottom. That's, I guess, there was a few days before it. So this was on September 26th. But the low, the dip right before this rally was on October 2nd before we rallied up. And so let's see how much of a gain that was. 44%. And so that's, again, a significant win. And so if we take the same time frame, the same box, and we move it forward 42 bars, what do we get on this? And so that is going to be, hitting this trend line, which would then have to be breaking through, what I view as this level of support because of, the bottoms over here, trading around here, touch point here, as well as here. So there's some support there. It's possibly we won't make it to this trend line, but, whether that is at, bottoming at $54.32 or touching the trend line at $53 right about, that seems like something might be worth, waiting for. And that would be on November 29th. So I'm actually going to make a video on this because I think it's pretty interesting, but I'm just going to put a line there to remind myself, make it a dotted line. That's really, the next, what could be a nice bottom before another big rally. If this cycle, if this pattern is true, I have no idea, but I do find it very interesting. And so I'll make a video on this because, I want to get this out there and see, what other people think. Maybe it's just, hocus pocus and, me not knowing what I'm doing, but maybe there's something there. I think it's interesting, especially, if it's at a discounted price of sub $55, that seems great. And so the next thing that I'll be going over is not a stock, which is Bitcoin. And so I want to go over this because I made a video on the possibility of there being a head and shoulders pattern. Let's see, I don't want to have that up. Okay, yes, so this head and shoulders pattern. So I saw that, from, this being the neckline right here, this dotted line being the top of the shoulders, I saw that we might be creating a head and shoulders. Everybody seemed overly bullish, or at least just everybody seemed bullish. Good to go against the crowd. I thought it might be a head and shoulders. I was wrong. So it broke above, testing above $35,000 per Bitcoin. And, it's been a week following that, I guess, starting a new week. I guess the clock just shifted to Monday, I guess, for GMT or, UTC, whatever, Zulu. And so, that I was wrong about that. But, I don't want to be chasing. I'm not chasing. And, I'm hoping that it comes back down. And, what I'm really hoping is we get, a return to these lows, sub 20K. May never happen. But, whether that does happen or doesn't happen in 2023, I'm waiting to start accumulating until 2024. January, that's when I plan on starting to build a Bitcoin position, which sucks because I could have been doing that earlier in the year. That's crazy, at the beginning of the year. Yeah, wow. But, what can you do? So it's unfortunate, but, don't want to be a chaser. And, I know long-term, I feel that long-term, 35K, whatever it is going to be cheap. But yeah, I was thinking it'd go lower than 15K, and it didn't happen. I also wasn't really in a position to be accumulating, so you also have to factor that in. And, so it wasn't right for me at the time. But yeah, anyways, that video that I made was probably not that helpful, but, I do think it's going to return to 20K, and I will be covering it, when relevant. But, as of right now, I'm just flat wrong, and, we'll have to wait and see, but I am cautious for the time being. Okay, and so before I get into this next one, I'm going to take a sip of water. And so this next one, I made a video on this in the pre-market on Friday. This is Chegg. Earnings coming up Monday after hours. And daily time frame. This line, yeah, okay. So this line is based on, hey, and I can extend this line. The volume has been going up, although, on Friday, it was down. We're actually going to change these candles so it tells us the direction. Yeah, okay, so the hollow green ones mean they're going up. Hollow red ones mean it's going up. But yeah, this filled red one, it's going down. And we closed at $8.43, a little bit higher than that in the after hours. And so my thoughts are with this, it seems like we've maybe formed this level of support around $8.26. And with earnings coming up, and in the after hours on Monday, I was thinking, hey, maybe, I could do a YOLO call because I think that there's a lot of potential for this to be, move violently upwards. It also could move violently downwards and any calls become worthless. But, considering there's this giant gap here and, we're at or near, very near the all-time low, it seems to me like there's more upside potential than downside potential. And so let's just look at the options chain for, this is for November 17th. That's only monthly options for this stock. And so if we look at, let's see, right around $8.50, so right between $8 and $9, we have calls that to going up to $9 with an ask or buy of 70 cents, 100, the contract of 100 units, 100 shares. So this ends up being $70 versus, the bid or the, selling price of $65. And so what I did on Friday is I bought a call for $65. I sold it for 70 cents, made $5, nothing crazy. And then I bought another one at $65. It came back down, which I'm currently holding. And my thoughts are that, with earnings, I think it'll go up. This call is not will not be expiring for weeks. So if it does go down, or if it doesn't hit my target price, there's still time for me to sell it. I've made $5 swinging one contract, and so maybe this 65 will go to 70 again. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll go to higher than that and I'll sell it. But I would like to, basically, if it goes up to 70, I'm going to sell it. And then I'll just try to get another one at 65. And so ideally, I'll be holding one contract for $65 into earnings, as kind of a lottery ticket, a YOLO, a degenerative gambling action to see, does this go up? And so, my bet, is worth $65 with a $5 discount, that it will go up. And if I lose that money, it's not a big deal. Although I would prefer not to. Hopefully I can get some of it back. But I do think that, it could go up a lot more. And then so on the other side of this, I just talked about the calls a bunch, or this call option a bunch. But the $8, the ask for that is $65. So it's cheaper. Or so this is a put, the $8 put. The ask is $65, even though $8.48 is closer to $8. I would think that'd make it more expensive. And so my understanding of the options chain, and I may be completely incorrect about this, but it's that if you see, something right in the middle and one of them's cheaper, call, put, whatever it is, that direction, if it's cheaper to buy that contract, it's less likely to expire in the money. And so, yeah, considering this, that it's $5 more to get a call option, 50-cent difference, 52-cent difference based on the closing price, that it seems more likely that it will be going up or closing in the money above $9. And that's, again, weeks away. So I'm not too concerned about it expiring or not expiring. I'm not going to be holding anything till expiration. But there will be opportunity for me to redeem at least some of that $65. So yeah, I find that to be interesting, and I thought I might just YOLO, doing a call with that, probably lose the money, but I'm setting limit sells. So if I am correct, and it does go up, I won't be too greedy and hold on for it too long. I'll exit with some money, and ideally holding one through earnings. Yeah, and then I also had noticed in that video I had pointed out this downtrend in the RSI. It looks like we've broken out of it, going up. So yeah, it seems to me like we could be going up, especially, if it's a red day tomorrow, that could, maybe it's a red day coming down to $8.30 or so, and then close, going up. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with this. But yeah, it's definitely a gamble. But might as well play the lottery every once in a while. Not a huge risk. I only have one contract, so I'm not too concerned. Okay, so this next ticker is Chewy. I made a video, I believe, suggesting that it might have bottomed based on this level that we have been respecting around 1676. And then there was this big candle that, let's see, when did I make that video? I'm just going to check my, when did I put out that video? This is for Chewy. So I made the Chewy video that was 5 days ago. So, suggesting around here on, Monday or so. Let's see, what's the exact date that I released that video? That was on the 24th. So let's see, the 24th, green candle going up. I released that video, get a discounted price, and then get this big candle. This was a change of 6.58% on the day of October 26th. So that seems like, hey, we maybe hit bottom there. And that might be the bottom. We may not be returning to 1676. But Friday's candle was a fairly bearish looking, I believe this would be a hammer doji, a hammer candle, not a doji because it's a full candle. You can see it there. But yeah, this looks to me like it's bearish. Like the top was, right around 18 bucks. That's basically where we are at right now. 1802, 1803 in the after hours. But I think that this might be reversing. It did have a high of, let's see, $18.56, 1850, kind of a psychological level. And let's see, 1850. I'm just going to put a horizontal line. Let's see, horizontal line there at right around 1850. All right, so yeah, that we got a touch point here on October 17th. Served as resistance here, then breaking above that before breaking down through it abruptly. No prior history at that level, but my thoughts are that we might come back down to maybe test these wicks as support around 1737. So let's see, what's this wick here? This is the high of this day was 1737. Yeah, so that seems like another significant level. Just gonna try to mark that. Yeah, so I think we could be coming down to retest that as support before moving higher. And so, yeah, and I do have some shares of this that I'd like to hold in order to fill this gap up here, but it might be nice for me to, have some of that cash on hand because I am in the green right now. So I might trim my position a little bit tomorrow, see what's happening in the pre-market trading, and then maybe add more to my position, around 1737, 1750, something like that. Because I do think that this is going to go higher, but I'd rather have the best average price and be taking profits along the way in order to prior to filling this gap up here. because I don't want to be holding the bag for too long, and I don't want to be not taking profits when I'm in the green. In case it does come back down, I'm in the red. So just trimming while I'm above my average price. And so the next stock on this list is an exciting one. This is so far the most viewed video that the channel's had, Hycroft Mining. I'm going to do another video on this, comparing it with AMC, because they just announced a reverse split, and so I think there's going to be some similarities between this and AMC, in that AMC recently carried out a reverse split, and the price has suffered as a result, but giving shareholders a great discount. And so I feel like this is going to have a great discount. To me, psychologically, it makes sense that this would come down to 20 cents a share. Then post-reverse split, that would be $2 a share. And so I think there's some great discounts coming up with this. And so what I've been doing is I bought some shares on Friday for $24, or actually I think I might have bought some on Thursday for $24.69, or sorry, not $24, 24 cents and 69, so 0.2469, and then sold for 26 cents in the after hours. And then on Friday I tried to do that and was able to sell half of my position for 26 cents, but it was not filled all the way. So hoping that's filled in the pre-market. And then what I think will happen is, so looking at this channel, this downtrend, it looks like, we've traded within that. Let's see, where does this go back to? Is there any significant points? I don't really know. But yeah, just this channel that we've traded in. And so when we broke below this horizontal line that I saw as support at 28 cents, I was thinking, it's going to keep going down, and hey, they're going to announce that there will be a reverse split. It will be required by NASDAQ in order for the stock to remain listed. I was expecting that to be announced and it would drop, staying within this channel. But what happened is, prior to that announcement, broke out of this channel, had a test of this level of, let's see, going back, have a touch point back here in the end of February, broke through that, had another touch point, so as support in March. That's serving as, somewhat support that was broken through, serving as resistance here, and now, broke through that and, tapped it, went through it a little bit before the reverse split announcement that there will be a reverse split happened, and bearish news. The price came down, gap down, so there's this exciting gap that's here to be filled at some point in the future, up to about 30 cents a share, which post split would be $3 a share. And so what I see is that this channel, what was prior resistance, the top of this channel, it looks like that's serving as support now, because we've had two tails of these candles coming through, breaking through that support, but then both closes were above that level. And so I view that we will follow this trend line down to around 20 cents a share, but with some upward movement along the way. So there's going to be some volatility to take advantage of. But yeah, I feel like there's going to be a great discount at 20 cents a share, which would then be post reverse split $2 a share. And so I think that would be a great time to accumulate a nice position here. But I have not done that yet because the price hasn't gotten there. And so yeah, I'm just curious to watch this, and I will make a video on that, and also comparing this with AMC, so we can get an idea of what levels this might be going to, so we can really be stacking up as much as we can before takeoff, which as we can see, there has been squeeze in the past following this wedge broken out of which may not be significant. These are just my little drawings here. But yeah, with this channel here broken out of that, I think that there's bearish stuff going on up until, let's see, when is the split announced. Let's see. Okay, so they're expected to post a loss. Undertake reverse split. Let's see when this is going to be. This is 1 for 10. The reverse stock split will become effective immediately after the close of trading on November 14th. So let's see. I'm just going to pull up my phone to see what day that is. That is going to be Tuesday, November 14th. So that is 2 weeks and a couple trading days from now. And so, you know, I think that after that reverse split, the stock's going to drop a decent amount and it'll present a great discount. And so that is kind of based on, let's see, what happened with AMC. You know, this the reverse split was announced August 24th, so right here, and you know, then there was a bottom. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna do one of these boxes, kind of handy to draw. So that, you know, dropped on the news of that reverse split happening, or I guess that was, you know, sell the event type of news. And so 705, that's a, you know, drop of around 57%. So seems to me like there's, you know, a good amount of discount coming up. So we're not there yet. So, you know, while I am, you know, swinging this a little bit, the Hycroft mining, which I know some people may not agree with, but, you know, I didn't have a big position before, and I was able to swing that, take some profits, and, you know, I've been following it. I plan on being with this company for a while, but if it seems overbought, you know, why do I want to hold on to that? If it seems oversold, which I don't think it seems like it's there yet, but I do think there's going to be volatility on the way down to post-reverse split discounts. Yeah, at that point in time, I think that it would be extremely undervalued, and I think that would be a great opportunity. And again, I'm just going to look back at AMC, you know, from that low of 1705. If I draw this box from there to the high of, this is about 11.15, let's say. Well, I'll just do the top of that candle, $11. That is an increase of 56%. So, you know, if you know, load up at a bottom like that, wait, let's see, this is 23 trading days, 31 days, 1 month. That's a great return. And so, yeah, that's I'm looking to do something like that with Hycroft. But, you know, I plan on not necessarily selling all of my shares if I get them at, you know, 20 cents a share or $2 post reverse split. I plan on holding for long term, but, you know, trimming as things go up. But I will have a position that I hold long term, because I believe in the company and their, you know, AMC's involvement with them. I think there's a lot of great potential. And yeah, so that's an exciting position. And then so the next stock, let's see, it's on this list. I have not covered this, but earnings are coming up next week. So I thought maybe if there's interest, or maybe I will just maybe, you know, capitalize on views, capitalize on that interest. I might be making a video on Palantir. I can't remember if it's pre or post market open close. But, you know, this is a stock that, you know, I'm intrigued by. It looks like that there's this, you know, I don't know if this is a bull flag or a wedge, you know, but we're right in the middle of it. So I could see that with earnings going up to that, if we are, you know, still within this range, that we would come down and test this trend line. Then that could be a great opportunity to establish a position before we go up to test the top of this wedge. And yeah, but if the course of the next couple days the price drops a bunch and it looks like we're getting close to this, maybe we're going to test this, maybe as a result of earnings or prior to, but it seems like there might be a nice discount coming up. So, I think I might make a video on that probably Wednesday, because it seems relevant and interesting. And, it would be nice to get a discount down here. I don't know that it's going to be happening soon, although if we do break below and into this wedge, you can see a couple gaps with there being one big one here between, let's see, a high of 786 and the low here of 866. So this could be coming down to, $8 a share if this wedge is broken, or, it could be going to this less significant gap right around $10.37. But, we'll have to wait and see. I think I'll probably make a video on this because, like with the news on Hycroft, that was a popular video. I think, with news like earnings, I think, this could be a nice video to make. Get some nice views, hopefully grow the channel more. So I'll probably be doing that next week. And then so this is Rivian, which are ticker symbol RIVN, which I did a video on last week, which was also pretty popular, but not as popular as the Hycroft one. And so that was based on, we filled this gap that's here. And so, kind of curious, are we forming support around, I think I might have mentioned forming support around $17 there. It seems like, we've come down to 16, maybe 16 support. And actually, yeah, let's see what's, got these touch points here. I'm just going to do it with the top of this wick. So let's see, how significant does that look? Got a touch point here, as well as here. Broke through that a little bit on this point, but that was a psych out. This also served as right around support over here. That's $15.67. So that could be a level of support. However, earnings is coming up. This is, I don't know if this is not next week, the following week, November 7th. And, so I'm curious if this level will hold as support. If it does, I would think that it would go down with earnings, to be honest. But I have no idea. Just complete speculation. I'm not in a position. I just like the stock, like the company. Wish I, had shares, back here when it was around $12 a share. But, I probably wouldn't have, sold up here. I didn't have as good of a plan back then. But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. I will probably do a video for this one, another one around earnings, and, maybe one before, maybe one after. So that could be cool. And then the final stock that's on my list here, which I did not include in the description of this video or, in the thumbnail, is Walgreens, ticker symbol WBA. And so I just wanted to make a video on this because, let's see, why did I want to make a video on this? I feel like there has to be a compelling reason. Apparently, I think there's something going on with the RSI here. But let's see. I think, I just got to zoom in here. Maybe there's a trend line here. Probably not. Let's see that. Maybe something like that. Doesn't seem too likely. I'm not too convinced by that. So let's do, horizontal line. With this, so I'll do it with this close here, which was, let's see, what was the close that day? Or no, that was the open. What was the open that day? $20.85. So if I do a line right around there, that's almost another touch point here. Two touch breakthroughs, but closing above. And so, yeah, this seems like it's pretty well down. let's see if we take a step back looking at the weekly. Actually, this seems like, what's that low on that day? 21.54. So I have 21.54. So let's see, what's the that'd be the close. 20. Yeah, so we're below that. But you know, that seems like, I guess that seems like it's, you know, kind of a range in this area. There was resistance back here, served as support. Going back, so yeah, I'm actually going to put this on the monthly time scale. And so this level that I have has served, yeah, I mean, look at this. It's crazy. Almost, you know, almost touching down there. So this had a low, this month had a low of 21.23. We've had some breakthroughs, but there seems to have been a lot of action, you know, sideways action at this level that we've, you know, broke below, kind of retested, served as support before launching up. And so, yeah, we're back at the same level. Could go down much lower, but, you know, there could be opportunities for this to go up. So anyways, I just wanted to put that up there. I probably won't make a video on this one, but, yeah, I just wanted to throw it in there. But, yeah, I have been streaming for more than an hour at this point. And so what I might do is put it back on the thumbnail screen. Nobody chimed in during the live chat. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully more people are able to participate, have a nice time with me, you know, on a Sunday, getting ready for the week, sharing some ideas, you know, a great way to, you know, get the community involvement as retail traders. So hopefully, you know, this evolves over time to be more community driven, less me talking at a camera and more, you know, exchanging in the live chat. But yeah, I mean, if you watched all the way through this hour-long stream, if you enjoyed it, make sure you like the video, comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know if there are other tickers you'd like to see, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Because yeah, I'm hoping to grow this channel. Degen Ed live streams on Sundays, this one being for October 29th, going over the past week of videos that I made, sharing some ideas for the future, and also sporting my buddy Degen Ed right here, the chimp, the primate, the ape, who is, you know, just always thinking about bananas and how can he get to them. You know, the more green candles there are that go up, he gets those bananas. That's his motivation. My motivation is getting to the moon. And, you know, I hope that we're able to, you know, make some trades, share some nice ideas together, and, you know, share ideas, you know, utilizing social media. And yeah, so, you know, I'm going to close this out, and then I'll probably make a follow-up video on Boyle, and then I'll, you know, start thinking about the next video that I make. Maybe I'll make it in the pre-market tomorrow, but maybe I'll save that for after hours a video release tomorrow. But yeah, I'll be releasing probably 5 videos before the next stream next Sunday. And so yeah, again, thanks a lot for watching. This is Degen Ed, that is degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice, just me having fun looking at charts with you guys. And yeah, again, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one.